Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. This is the weekly fishing report for the week of August 3rd. I want to start off by thanking all of you who sent in reports last week, especially for you anglers that sent in reports for the first time. I know last week I talked about having a wedding to go to, and I was going to really solicit for as many reports as I could get. You guys really came through. So you guys that sent in reports for the first time, thanks a lot. Don't be strangers. Make sure you continue sending those reports in. And remember, you know, the guys that are going out the 40-hour-a-week guys that are working 40 hours a week, get to fish on the weekends, maybe they get a day off in the middle of the week. Those are the reports that are really important. I don't want it to be just what I'm doing out here or what the tournament's results are telling us or what the pros are doing. I want it to be the average guys that are talking to other average guys that are looking to get the information that they need to come out and just help them catch a few more fish on the weekend. So with that, I talked about the wedding, and you know, I finally told my wife, I said, things out here are really happening. We've got tournaments going on. We've got people coming out catching fish and getting a lot of questions, you know, people coming from out of town. So I told my wife that I was not going to be able to make it to the wedding. Now, with that being said, I'm leaving for the wedding Thursday. I'll be back Sunday. So I want you guys that are out here fishing, make sure you send in your reports. I will be back on the water Monday, but I won't have a full week to formulate what I'm doing out here. So again, thanks a lot, and we will be here next Wednesday, hopefully with a lot of reports from you guys. Next Thursday with a lot of reports coming in from you guys in this next week. Fishing is getting better and better. All right, let's talk about water conditions. And Central Delta is about the same. We're talking 78 to 80 degree water temps, about 6 feet of visibility. Out north, I'm getting water temps low 70s, 72 to 74, a lot of the reports are saying, and about 3 or 4 feet of visibility out to the north. The big change, if we'll call it a big change, is coming from down south. The water is clearing up a little bit. We're talking about, a couple weeks ago we were talking about 6 inches to 2 feet. Now it's 2 to 4 foot visibility. And this is the first week that I've actually started getting reports that guys are fishing down south and they're starting to pick up fish in that 2 to 4 feet of visibility out of Lazy M, going out of Disco Bay, going south. I'm not saying it's time to go down there and start putting your eggs in that basket, but it's getting better and better. And as everything evens out in this late year that we're having, I think that south is going to come on just like it does every year. So let's talk about the Snag Proof tournament. We'll go over that, it was the UFC tournament last week. We'll go over that very briefly, the Frog tournament. I think there was about 100 boats on the pro side, and I don't know how many on the am side. Underwhelming weights again for the tournaments coming down the pipe this year. Frog tournament usually takes around 24, 25 pounds to win. It was on the pro side, it was won with 19 pounds. Amateur, they had a 23-pound bag. The amateur team won with 23 pounds. They had an 8-pound kicker, which was big fish of the tournament. And obviously that helped them to get that big bag. I think there was only 5 or 6 fish out of, we'll just call it 150 teams fishing 2 days that had a fish over 5 or 6 pounds. Just a handful of big fish, with an 8-pound fish being the big one. Talked to several people that fished it. I talked to my buddy JR Jr. He had a 7th place finish, and I think he had a 5 or 6 pound kicker. But Junior reported the fishing was tough. Him and his partner were able to weigh in 3 fish each day. Junior caught his big fish on the first day. Second day, Junior didn't catch a fish. His partner had to put the 3 fish in the boat. But they did manage a 7th place finish, and just tough fishing. Got some bites, but didn't really. The big bites just didn't seem to pan out. I talked to Rob Cloutier. He was 5th in the tournament the first day, and then I think he dropped just out of cashing a check the second day. Rob reported the same thing. Had his chances, big fish coming up, but just not taking the frogs, and that's something that everybody's been saying for the last couple of weeks. Got another tournament coming up, the Snag Proof coming up next week, and I have a suggestion for you guys that may be fishing that if you're not already thinking about this. I have been doing well on top water but I have not been doing well on frogs. And a lot of my big topwater fish are coming on smaller baits, especially that little 2 3/4 inch Rico. My suggestion would be is to scale down the size of your baits, your frogs, and I would go with a 7'2" medium heavy, lean on the heavy rod, something that's going to have enough power to set the hook with a hollow body frog, but something that you can pitch. All of my fish are coming very close to tules. They're in shallow water, 2 to 3 feet deep. I'll say 1 to 3 feet deep, and they're very close to tules. I'll say within a foot of a tule. I don't care if it's a tule bank, if it's an offshore tule clump, if it's just a couple of strands of tules. I'm pitching my baits in, and I'm making sure that I am touching tules. I'm getting snagged up a lot with open-faced hooks, but with the frog you can throw it deep in there and just make sure you're very close to tules. Scale down your baits and see if that doesn't produce some fish for you. That's if you're having trouble. If you're catching fish and you think you got the winning formula, go with that. But if you're having trouble, scale down your baits, fish close to tules. Oh, one more tournament. We had the Tuesday night tournament, the Lunkers tournament out of Lazium. That was one with an 19.9 bag, just under 20 pounds. They had 18 boats. And, I've been talking about that tournament the last couple of weeks. It's a newer tournament. They're growing each week. And the guys seem to be having a good time fishing it. And, for you guys that are out south that can't make the Wednesday night tournaments, that may be a really good alternative. You're coming from Tracy or maybe the Bay Area. It's a lot closer than, coming into Lads. So with that, check out that, what is this? Oh, we got a plane going by. Check out the Tuesday night tournament. Let's give that plane a chance to get by. That guy in that yellow plane should be a weekly contributor, because I think every week that I do this guy flies by. I don't care where I'm at. Anyhow, let's talk about some PBs that came up the last week. And talk about Scott. He was fishing out of Discovery Bay, and he fished local. Gave a small report on what he did. He was in 2 foot of visibility. He had a 50 fish day, all on reaction baits, and that included his PB 7.46. So Scott, you get a big congratulations for that. Craig took his girlfriend Paula out last week. Paula got her personal best, 7.2 pounds. Congratulations, Paula. Craig also wanted to let everybody know it was your birthday, so happy birthday to Paula, and congratulations on that PB. Good job. Gary dropped his personal best with an 8.0 this last week, and Gary and his partner Randy just mentioned that last week they got second place in the Wednesday night tournament. They put in the first 20-pound bag of the year and got a second place. So congratulations to Gary for you getting your PB, and also Gary and Randy, congratulations on that second place finish for the Wednesday night tournament. Let's talk about some quick reports that I've got from the fellas sending in. Then we'll talk a little bit about what Alan Fong has to say, give you a little report from Rob. I'll let you know what I'm doing, then we'll get out of here and let you guys go fishing. Mike sent in a fly fishing report. I think he was out north. He had a 20 fish day fishing a little topwater fly called a Gartside gurgler, which is kind of a popping bug, but had 20 fish. And his key to success was he was fishing moving water around vegetation. Once the tide started moving out, high outgo tide, he went to the rock walls, and that was his key to success. And that high outgoing tide is the one that you wanted to be fishing last week. Ron went out a big break. He fished crankbaits, high outgo tide, water temperature 79 degrees, had great time fishing crankbaits. Jason fished out of the Lazy M. We're going from Big Break all the way down south to Lazy M, fishing in that 2 to 4 feet of water visibility. Had 2 great days, had 20 and 30 fish days. Drop shots were the key for him. He fished jigs and frogs with 0 success. Charlie, he went out of the north, had a 20 fish day. He fished the afternoon into the evening. He's reporting 71 to 74 degree water temperatures with 2 to 3 feet of visibility out north. and he caught his fish basically, caught some on a frog, punched a few fish, buzz baits and Cincos. Jeffrey sent in a little report. He had 9th place in the Wednesday night tournament last week. He had a 15.8 pound bag, and he caught his fish, or at least his big fish, on swim bait. So the swim bait bite was happening for Jeffrey at least a little bit. All right, with that, I talked to Alan Fong. Alan's fishing out north around Liberty. He's doing really well. He went out the other day, 3 people on the boat. They had a 50 fish day, a lot of fish in the 3 and 4 pound class. Most of his fish were coming on reaction bites, throwing chatterbaits. He was also getting fish flipping, and I know if he's flipping the bait that he usually flips, it's probably a brush hog. He's not punching a whole lot. He's fishing moving water. And again, Alan knows that area like nobody else. Don't expect to go up there and have a 50 fish day, but if you're fishing out of Sacramento up north, the area around Liberty is doing well. Also catching a few stripers up there. With that, I've caught a couple of stripers this week, and the stripers in the Central Delta are not big, but man, they are clean looking fish. They're nice and fat. They're eating well. The normal guys that I'll call them subsistence fishermen that are fishing out of Paradise Point, they're fishing out here, and I have seen them catch fish. They are fishing, they're drifting live bait, primarily bluegill, and they're just fishing around the main channel where the sloughs are entering the main channel. They're fishing at that high outgo tide. That's when I've been seeing them catch their fish. And they're just drifting around, and the fish are out here, just not stripers are out here. They're just not in good numbers. I know a lot of the guys that I talk to that have been throwing crankbaits and chatterbaits are catching them, but they'll be coming in a few weeks. All right, Rob Cloutier. Rob fished that frog tournament, and I think I already mentioned this. He 5th place the first day, and he dropped just out of contention the second day. Rob is reporting that he had chances, a lot of big fish coming up and just refusing the frogs. And Rob talked about something that I wanted to bring up. And he seems to think a lot of the females are coming in for a second spawn, and it is, biologically, if you read about spawning habits, there are fish that will spawn twice a year. Rob seems to think a lot of these fish that maybe spawned early are coming back for another round. That is why I think a lot of the people that are fishing frogs or topwaters are saying they're getting bites and the fish just aren't eating them. Some of these fish that spawn late are still in post-spawn. Some of the fish that spawned early are going into a second spawn. So that would make sense why we're getting so many big blow-ups that just aren't engulfing the baits. I also wanted to say that Alan, out of all those fish that he was catching, Alan Fong, the big fish, he seems to think that all of those fish are still in pre-spawn, and all of the fry out north are about a ½ an inch long. They just basically, hatch those eggs that are coming off the beds. A lot of babies down here. The spawn that I'm seeing, the fry, they are maybe an inch long. They haven't, it's been a late year, so we might still see some more productive spawning out here. And man, so far, I know the fishing has not been good out here this year up until the last couple of weeks, but the spawn seems to have been really well. What have I been doing? Oh, I've been fishing early and late. I found that the morning bite is better than the evening bite, and it's lasting about an hour to an hour and a half. Once that bite deteriorates, I've been fishing rock walls, and I'm fishing sloughs that are running north and south, and I'm fishing that rock wall in the morning that is on the east side, meaning when it's throwing out a little bit of shade. So when the sun comes up, you got that topwater bite fishing the flats or wherever you're fishing. As soon as that bite deteriorates, I've been putting on a chatterbait. I'm throwing a jackhammer, ½ ounce sprayed grass with a kamikaze swimming green pumpkin trailer on it, and that's been doing all the damage for me. I haven't had to change that. So after the topwater bite shuts down, go to those rock walls that have a little shade on them, and just run the banks, and especially where there's tules. There's also a lot of hyacinth that's breaking up on those nondescript rock walls. As you get the tide coming in and coming out, there will be different areas that hold the hyacinth onto the bank. They're not stationary mats of hyacinth. They're moving, and boy, it seems like as they move, the fish just follow those and they stay under them. I haven't punched those, but if you throw a chatterbait around them, you'll probably get a fish. With that, man, I fished all night Monday night. Not a good bite in the evening when I started about 6 o'clock. Caught a few fish. It wasn't great. Didn't get any big fish. I fished till about 11 o'clock at night. The only thing I could get fish on after dark was a chatterbait. I am just not getting fish to react to big swim baits yet. I don't know why. Rats, swim baits, big walking baits, just not. I didn't get one bite on them. I slept from about 11:30 to about 2:30. I got up and fished from 2:30 to about 9 the next morning. The only thing from 2:30 to I'll say daybreak, about 3:30 in the morning, there was a short bite window of about 45 minutes. I caught 6 fish, all of them on chatterbaits, nothing over 3 pounds. The average fish was 2 1/4 to 2 1/2, so a little better average at night, but is it worth staying out all night to do that? No. Half-hour bite on chatterbaits? No. If I got a big fish in there with a big swim bait or something, I got an 8 or 9 pounder, that would have made it worth it, but didn't happen last week. As the sun came up, I went to top waters. I caught a few small fish. The bite really didn't start till about 7 a.m. in the morning. I got a 6 1/4 on a Rico. That's why I'm talking. And I got 2 other fish that were, I'd say, 4 and 5 pounds that I didn't get to the boat, but I'm getting them all on these small little popping bugs. I didn't get anything on whopper ploppers like I did the week before, or bigger walking baits like I did the week before. It's all small poppers for me. As soon as that bite died off, that's when I went to the rock banks and I fished the chatterbaits. I'm off the water by 10 o'clock. I had that one big fish, 6 1/4, but man, I had to throw a lot of cast and cover a lot of area. And full moon, I had good visibility. I was putting the bait in the right spot, I'm sure. I was using the right baits. It was just tough fishing. So with that, I will be off to the wedding. I'll be back Monday. I'll get back on the river, and I'm expecting the fishing to be good next week. Thank you guys for watching me. If you have not watched my video that I put up Tuesday, it was called Fielded Dreams, or it is called Fielded Dreams, and it's about flats fishing. Make sure you check that out. Until next week, good luck. We'll see you on the water.